up YouTube? Musty Hobbit here, and I have outdone myself. I have topped my last trade, which was for that Steel Battalion controller, and I have got quite the haul that I want to show off today. I'm extremely pleased. I have recently undergone a purge of some of my Xbox titles. I decided that going for a complete collection may not be an immediate goal, so I decided that I would dial that back, let loose on a couple of the items that I have that really aren't essentials, and go ahead and get some things that I actually want for my collection for some of the other systems that I have. So I reached out to my friend Rob. I've mentioned Rob before. Rob runs the NES Depot, which is based out of a town in Iowa, but he primarily has a web presence. Now, Rob, he definitely had quite a lot for me to look through. So I brought 3 boxes of games to him and came back with one. So I'm pretty pleased with the quality on these, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with the Xbox titles just to get those out of the way. I did get a really nice clean copy of Mass Effect. I have a Platinum Hits version. This one is one of the original launch releases of Mass Effect, so I'm very happy to have that. I absolutely adore this series, and I'm really looking forward to Andromeda. Again, every other video I bring this up. We also got for 360 a launch title, and it's Dead or Alive 4. Dead or Alive 4 follows in the Dead or Alive fighting series. In this game, though, and one of the unlockable characters is a Spartan. It is actually a female Spartan. Happy to have Dead or Alive 4. At some point I would like to have a full 360 launch lineup. Then one Xbox game, and this one is a sequel to one that I currently have in the collection. This is Otogi 2 Immortal Warriors. If you remember from my previous video, Otogi was made by From Software, and From Software has done the Dark Souls and Bloodborne and that sort of genre of game. This does play, looks like a third-person sort of action combat type game, so I'm looking forward to that. So with that small little Xbox bundle, the rest of it really kind of ramps up. So let's go ahead and dive in with some Game Boy games. I've recently started playing my Game Boy a little bit more. I've actually started to put the collection right there. So I had some staples that I wanted to go after. So Rob had quite a few. We have Nemesis, which is Gradius for the Game Boy. We have Dr. Mario. Cannot go wrong with Dr. Mario. We have Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge. And then one of the biggest ones from the Game Boy little bundle here for Game Boy Color. This is Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. If you watched my previous video, you know I have not played a handheld Zelda. We're going to fix that. We're going to fix that soon. And then Cartridge Club Game of the Month. Coming up this December, the Cartridge Club, at least the people who wish to, are going to be playing first-gen Pokemon. So I picked up from Rob both Blue and Yellow. Now I had sold off my copy of Blue for another purchase, which I will talk about at some other point in time, so I did get a new copy of Blue. It's a little, actually looks like it was chewed on, so I don't know if you can pick that up there, but there look to be some bite marks. But then also a copy of Yellow. I can't decide which one to play. I know that there's some minor differences, although some people say that they're bigger differences than we might be making it out to be. So if you have a suggestion between Blue and Yellow, please let me know. I really wanted Red. I like Charizard. I like his look, although I've never played Pokemon. So looking forward to December's Game of the Month. Keeping with the theme of Cartridge Club games, again, I'm working toward completing an entire collection of all of the Game of the Month that our group has. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity to pick up a really nice clean copy of Rocket Knight Adventures. And I have only had a chance to play this one time. I actually tried it out on the weekly Cartridge Club hangout. And this is complete. It was a lot of fun. It's quite challenging. It takes a little bit of time getting used to some of the controls, but Rocket Knight, very, very nice, clean copy, like I said. Then we also have a copy of Jurassic Park. Again, complete condition. I recently sold off my loose copy, so getting back a complete one is obviously a win in my books. A copy of Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. And again, this is, one of those staples for Genesis. You kind of have to have this one, so I'm, again, happy, complete copy. Very pleased there. And then another Cartridge Club Game of the Month. I actually missed out on this one because I did not have a copy at the time, but now I do. I have a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog. Woo! I bet you guys are all proud of me. But again, complete. Again, another must-have. And then the story behind this game is kind of ironic. This was a game that I had acquired from a friend, and when Rob helped me get my copy of Mega Man last year, I traded this game away to him. I was surprised that it was still in his available bin, and so there is no manual on this one, but it is a copy of Steel Empire for the Genesis. This is another side-scrolling shooter where you play as a Zeppelin, and I've heard great things. I played it briefly, and I think in the moment I didn't give it enough time, and that's part of the reason why I had traded it, but I'm happy to get it back. So I have a copy of Steel Empire. Wanted to quickly touch base on, while we're on the topic of shooters, I picked up this copy of a game for PS2 called Castle Shikigami 2. I'm going to give this one a shot and see what it is like. I hear it is quite over the top, kind of an anime setting, but I've been told that if I don't enjoy it, that this copy is going to Mighty Q Dog. So we'll give that a try, and we will see what happens there. Another game that I recall playing once when it had come out at my friend's house, and I couldn't pass it up. I really like Squaresoft, if it wasn't obvious. And Squaresoft put out a couple of other series of games. So this one actually, there were two entries to this series, but this is Parasite Eve for the PS1. And it's kind of a modern spin on an RPG, but I recall it being very cinematic and really kind of interesting gameplay. So I'm looking forward to diving back into Parasite Eve. On the topic of favorite games, this one ranks very high for me, and I really don't collect N64. It's just a system that I really haven't picked up much for. So I did get a couple of games here that I will highlight, but this one, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to get one complete, especially when it is in a trade. But we have a copy of Perfect Dark. And this game, being the follow-up to GoldenEye, I immensely enjoy this. I used to play this so much. And the ability to use bots in multiplayer was great for those weekends where no one was available to come hang out. So I'm happy to have a copy of Perfect Dark in very good condition, and Rob threw in these nice cases for that. He also threw in a couple of cases for my complete Final Fantasy for the NES, and one for the Final Fantasy 3. So I have now I have those all boxed and protected, which is very important. I want to make sure that these things last, and anything I can do to ensure that those are remain intact is vitally important to me. So we did get a couple of manuals. Rob actually threw these in at the end, and I was kind of surprised that he was willing to do that. I think part of it is that the condition on some of these are hard to sell. And so I did get a couple of manuals, which is not common. So I do have a copy of the manual for Super Metroid with no cover, which is fine by me. A copy of Super Mario RPG with no cover. You get a copy of the manual for the Super Scope, and then Super Scope 6, which was that pack-in game for it. Both of these have hole punches in them. I don't know if you can see that there. So somebody at some point had that in a binder or something to that effect. And then a Mario 64 manual. Again, no cover. Don't know what happens there, but the rest of it is really in good shape. And again, Rob really does well with keeping his manuals in good shape when he's looking to sell them. They're in individual protectors, and all the boxed games again have cases and things like that. The one manual that he threw in that I was extremely pleased about was for another Cartridge Club Game of the Month, and that's Star Tropics. And this is an amazing condition, and it actually has the letter on the back attached, and the letter was the letter from your father, and you had to submerge a portion of this in water in order to reveal I believe it's the frequency for your sub in order to get your sub to function. So if you rented this game, didn't have the letter, you were kind of stuck. Especially back then, there was no means to go and get that information. So now I have that, and again, it's in fantastic condition. So now we get into the cartridge-based stuff. We've talked about cartridge-based stuff. But let's look at a Super Nintendo game. This is not on my top 100 list, but I could not pass up the opportunity. I did not expect him to have this copy, let alone a few additional copies of this game. But this is Pieces. This is an Atlas title for the Super Nintendo, and it is a jigsaw puzzle game. And I have yet to play this, but I have heard people raving about this game, and I know that it is actually quite rare. It's definitely in the top 20 for most rare Super Nintendo games, and it's still fairly affordable. So if you can find yourself a copy, go get it. Go get it now, because you are not going to. You're going to kick yourself in a couple months or maybe a year or so, and that spikes, and it will be definitely much more hard to find at that point without paying a premium. One of the nice things about that game is that it actually uses the Super Nintendo mouse. So I now have the Super Nintendo mouse. I did not have that for my copy of Mario Paint, but now I do. It's a little dirty, but I can manage with that. I cleaned it up, and it works just fine. But yeah, Super Nintendo mouse. And then for N64, launch title, Mario 64. Did not have this, now I do. Goes well with that manual. Another N64 game, recent Cartridge Club Game of the Month. This is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Never played this. This came out after I had sold and upgraded off of my N64 back in the late 90s. I think it was 2000 when this game came out. So now I have a copy, and at some point I will brave the challenge there. I did get one NES title, and this is actually a label upgrade for me. If you recall from my NES collection overview, my copy of Mega Man 2 was in horrible shape. So now I have a much nicer label, which is great. It means I can find somebody to take that other Mega Man 2 off my hands, but happy to have that. 3 more games for you. But before we get to those games, keeping with the NES theme, got a top loader. So I recall a friend or two having a top loader. I have really only seen them a couple of times, and I rarely get the opportunity to even hold one. Now I have one. I am planning down the road at some point to likely mod this so that it can look even better on my CRTs. I don't know if I'll play it through my flat panel. We'll see. But to those of you who I know who mod, we should talk sometime soon. maybe in a couple months. But yeah, I'm definitely in the market. I would like to look into that. So again, 3 more games, and they are all toward my Super Nintendo list. One of these I had traded off. So I traded off this game to get the Steel Battalion controller. This is the #1 game on the top 100 list, and now I have reacquired it, and that is Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. So again, Cartridge Club Game of the Month. Happy to have that, and we will we won't be letting go of this one again, I don't think. So the next, again, also on that top 100 list, is Kirby Superstar. There are multiple Kirby games, I think 4 of them on the top 100 list. I am down to needing just Dreamland 3, which is the hard one to find, but a copy of Kirby Superstar is fantastic to find. And so the last game, this is a big deal, and I thank Rob immensely for being willing to work with me on this. I had caught wind of the fact that he had picked this up in a large lot that he acquired, and I managed to scrounge together, sold off a couple of things to build up some capital to pick this up. But enough for the wait. Let's just show it to you. So this is, I believe it's number 13 on the top 100 list. Former Cartridge Club Game of the Month, and that's Earthbound. So I don't know what to say, but thank you, Rob. This is a game that fit a couple of my lists. I know that there is a copy on the Wii U Virtual Console that is $10, and I understand that, but to have this in as good a shape as it is, and be able to play this game, which I have not played. I have not had a chance to play this. I missed this one. I missed all the Super Nintendo games for the most part. So now having a copy of this, I'm pretty ecstatic. So I would like to point out that Rob is going to be at an event coming up soon on October 1st in Waterloo, Iowa. They have the world's largest garage sale. Rob usually has a table or 2 at that event, so if you are in the area, if you are at all familiar with this, go look for Rob at NES Depot. Check out his table. I didn't take it all. There is a ton of good stuff there. There was a lot that I had to leave in the bins that you can go get, so you should if you are in the area. So October 1st in Waterloo, Iowa. I will link to a website or something so that you can know where to go for that. The Xbox Purge is over, and the fact that I was able to turn it into this really, really makes me happy and kind of gets me excited. I've got Portland coming up in about 30 or so days, and if I can come away with something like this from there, this will be quite the productive year, and my collection is going to look in very, very good shape. So like the video if you did. Please, again, let me know, should I play yellow, should I play blue, does it matter? And aside from that, thank you for watching. I have been Musty. Take care of yourself and be good to each other. Bye.